Hey everyone, it's Cami here. How you doing? I am here to talk to you about the pathway to mastery for social media and how you can build a social media strategy that supports your business. This is a part of a six-part series, well, actually seven with the intro video, which was last week, that is going to walk you through each of the steps of the pathway to mastery and how to create each one. But today, specifically, we're going to be talking about what I call the explorer step. I'm going to show you that real quick. So the explorer step is really about you. This step is really about how we find your superpowers, sort of what you bring to the marketplace that makes you special, that makes you stand out in social media. And so that is what I'm going to be doing with you today. So just jumping right in, and hopefully as people join, you just let me know you're here. I know that I started a minute or two late, so this is a live stream, so some people might wonder. Cool. So I am really excited to walk you through the Explorer steps so that you can start to think about the ways that you can create a brand for yourself online that is unique to you and is only something that you can do. So let me get right into that. I'm going to switch over to this slide so you can see what I have here. So basically, I think there's three things that you need to think about when you think about creating a brand for yourself on social media. First of all, we will be talking next week about like sort of the who do you reach out to, but today I really want to focus on you and like sort of what you bring to the party. So one of the things that's really important about social media is that you stand out. And the only way to stand out is truly to have such a clear brand that people can say, yeah, I know so-and-so does this. I know that Cami is a social media strategist, or I know whatever it is. Okay. And so that way you become more referable when you're like that. That means people can refer you for what you have to offer. And I know all of you have a ton to offer. You have probably are multi-passionate and can do lots of things really well. But in this case, as you're building an online brand, you need to be very clear about what you are bringing to the table in this case. So I break it down into these three areas: superpowers, and I'll explain that in a minute, your vision, your own vision, and then also your assets. Hi, Nick. I see you here. That's cool. That's awesome. I'm glad you are. And so these are the three areas that you are going to want to kind of lean into. So I want to start with superpower. I'm going to bring that in. So I've been talking about this for a really long time. So I work with brands to help them build their online communities and social media. So I've been doing this for, oh my gosh, a lot of years now. And one of the first things I started talking with brands early on is, what can you bring as an asset to the marketplace? Like, what do you have that you can bring into the community online that makes you unique and special? Not just your products and services, although those are very important, obviously, to the brand themselves. I mean, probably to you, like, what is your service that you offer? But in the end of the day, you have to have something that makes the community more, that builds the community up in a way. Okay. So what I mean by superpowers is, what is it that people ask you about all the time? Like, what do they come to you for advice? That could be one. Another one could be that could be your superpower, is that what really annoys you in the marketplace. So think about in your profession, in your niche, wherever you are, what is it that bugs you that people do? Usually that's because you can see it. I was actually talking to my son last night. He is a great, amazing songwriter. Just won a national songwriting competition. Really proud of him as a mom, proud moment. But we were listening to some music last night together. And as we listened to different songs, some of them, it bothered him the way that they had produced them. So like he hears stuff in the music like, wow, I don't really like how this is just, doesn't layer, or it doesn't build here. It never builds. And he's talking about these things like in a way that's like, it bugs him. And then when we were listening to some stuff that he loved, he was talking about how it layered and what he liked about it. And it was very technical. Okay. So the things that he loved were very technical, and the things that he didn't like were very technical, and they bothered him. So it's very clear to me he's a songwriter, right? He's a songwriter at heart. And he has this skill inside of his own songwriting of layering. So his music layers, and he likes to build upon the different layers, and that's his specialty. So, he could easily be somebody that was marketable to other songwriters who are trying to pop to like punch up their songs, he'd be a great person to hire to say, "Hey, come help me or collaborate with me to fill the sound out in my song." And so I'm just using that as an example because it could be anything, right? So for me, somebody, what is my superpower? Well, I would say one of my biggest superpowers is simplifying social media information to make it easier to obtain. So like I'm very good at putting together processes and really like little hacks to get people results faster. So that's sort of my superpower. And I always say it's because I'm lazy a little bit. So I always want to make sure that I'm doing the least amount of work to get the best result. And so I'll keep working and iterating until I find exactly what that is, right? So that's kind of cool. So yeah, so tell me what your superpower is in the chat. I know some of you are live here, but if you come and watch this in replay, I'd love to see that too. Could you put into the chat what you think your superpower might be? Like what really bugs you, or what do people come to you for advice? So kind of throw that in the chat for me because I'd love to be able to share a few of those if I can. But yeah, don't be shy. I see your eyeballs. I know you're there. So anyway, so that's really, really important is your superpower and what you bring to the fight. I mean, for a big corporation, sometimes it's resources, right? Like what kind of resources can you provide to the community that help you to build those relationships? So it goes all the way from your personal traits as a solopreneur, a small business owner, all the way to like, what are the things inside of your company, if you have a bigger company, that you can bring to the market? So for example, Zoetica Media, which is my company, here in Houston, we bring a social media breakfast to the market, and we've done it for 13 years, and we don't get paid for it or anything like that. Nobody pays. It's like a grassroots movement, and we do that because that is something that I'm great at, is creating communities and organizing them. And so, that's why we do it. We do it because it needs to be done, right? And so that's awesome, and we don't really expect anything in return for it. I'm not going to say we've never gotten anything in return. I definitely would say we have visibility and clients from it, but it's not our primary gain or aim. So that's not what we're trying to do. If that means, yes, you can. Okay. Did that help, Andrea? I think I just did that a little bit. Soft skills, superpowers. So yeah, I mean, those are the things that you can do. Another soft skill superpower would be something like connection. Are you a connector? I mean, you can go and do the Malcolm Gladwell and figure out, what you are, but are you a connector? Are you great at putting people together? Like I go through and as I'm watching things and I think, oh, this person should know this person. So you could do that. I mean, it just does not have to be anything expensive, I guess is what I'm trying to say. For a big brand, yes, maybe they're going to put some money into it. But for like all of us, all the regular folks, it can be something that's very, small. How do you connect people and how do you become memorable to them as somebody who's a connector? So people reach out to me a lot too for like hiring here in Houston. Like, do you know somebody who does XYZ? Do you know somebody who does SEO? Do you know somebody who does public relations? Happened just yesterday. So I would just say, what is it? That could be a soft skill. That was a good question. Thank you. Oh yes. Nicholas, international travel. Yeah, but so you are great at international travel because you've done it a lot. So what can you help others to do the same, right? So it's like they ask you about international travel, you help them do that. That's awesome. So, I know you've given me some tips too on places you should go and that kind of thing. Awesome. And program management, you said, and networking. Yes. I'm saying these are very good. I'm just putting up Nicholas's skills, and he's correct. He's a great networker. He connects people together. He's got international. He lives internationally, so people do probably ask him for that, and program management, which I don't know much about. So I'd like to know more about that, Nicholas. Anyway, cool. So, and oh yeah, Tracy, you're a great encourager. Yes, you are. And so Tracy is a cheerleader. We talked about this, but not in a negative way, in a good way. So like Tracy's really great at encouraging people to move forward and grow. And she's really good at bringing to light things that need change without being super, I don't know, aggressive about it. So she's very good at that. So, and you've gotten better at standing up for yourself, which is awesome. I think. And so that's awesome. Cool. And then JJ says, outside the box ideas and unique problem solving solutions. I love that. Yeah. So That's true too, because a lot of people just do it the way that it always was done. And, problem solving is great because in the end of the day for marketing, it's all about problem solving. It's all about solving people's problems. That's another way you can think of this. Thanks, JJ. That was really helpful because you can think of this also as like what problems are in the marketplace that need to be solved that you have the capacity to solve. It's often those things, you're sitting around the table and you think, oh gosh, I wish somebody would invent something to do XYZ. Maybe you're that inventor because you thought of it. So I'm just saying, sometimes I've had people come to me before to like, hey, we really need a social media breakfast in the woodlands or something. And I'm like, oh, yeah, that would be great. But I live in Katy, which I mean, I guys, those of you who don't live in Houston don't know, but these are like very far away from each other. And I'm thinking, yeah, so start one in the woodlands. Yeah, that's a good idea. Yeah, nobody ever did. I had people say that to me though. Cool. So that is number one is your superpower. Let me move on to number two so that I don't take up too much of your time today. And that is vision. Vision is the second thing that you really need to have. And that kind of goes hand in hand with superpower. Again, one of these isn't more important than the other. That's why I put them in this Venn diagram because where these all like overlap together for you is kind of where you should probably be leaning into for your social media messaging. So vision is huge because if you don't have a reason for what you're doing, you are going to get off track. You are not going to do the work. As we all know, social media has a certain amount of work to it. I call it a marathon, not a sprint, but probably because I've been doing it now for a couple of decades anyway, almost. And so, it's just this consistency over time that actually works. And not really being worried about your results in the moment. If you're too worried about your results in the moment, you're going to quit because there's times your results will be as great as other times. Nick and I were talking about this the other day when we had the conference. We had a conference here in Houston, and he was here for that. And I talk about like I don't really care. Like I really love that you guys are here for the live stream today. Thank you. But in the end of the day, I come on here to get information out, and this information then becomes the center of our everything that we put out. So if people don't show up live, I'm not worried about that too much because I'm going to use this video again and again and again. And in fact, one of the things I'll talk about in assets is kind of what I've done with these videos. You're going to be really excited about what I've done with these videos anyway that I'm doing. So vision is really important. And so I would recommend, I do this all the time, sitting down and imagining yourself a year from now. Just imagine where you would be. Like close your eyes and just think, what do I want to have accomplished a year from now in my business, in my life, whatever you're coming to social media for the people that you serve. Think about all those things, especially the impact. It's not just your results, your money, and that kind of stuff. It's also the impact you have in the world. That's really important to me right now in this part of my career. So thinking about like what you want to accomplish within a year. And thinking about that and kind of jotting it down. But then take that and pretend like you are that person a year from now and write a letter to yourself right now. Tell yourself all of the things why you're so proud of yourself and why, and how what you've accomplished in that year and how, you've overcome these obstacles. So anything you're afraid of, kind of address them. Like, this is what you have to overcome to get to this point. It works really well. It's kind of gets you out of your head. Because I think when you write down goals, there's always like a little bit of editing, like, I want to get to 1,000 people in my membership, but yeah, I probably can't. I mean, I edit myself like that too all the time. So sitting down and like thinking of that result already happening and then thinking back to what you would have had to done to achieve it works a little bit better than sitting here at the bottom of the pile and thinking about the top of the mountain. It works better to think of yourself at the top of the mountain and look backwards to see what would be necessary to get there. I know it sounds weird, but it really is a little trick for your brain. It works really, really well. Oh, cool. Venus is here. Oh, so good to see you. Her superpower is making words come to life and asking quality questions that engage and empower audiences. And that is so true. I'm so glad you see that in yourself. You are amazing at that, of course. You're a poet and you're amazing at that. and I love your words. Your words are really powerful, and so I'm glad you see that in yourself. So yeah, absolutely. And Walter, yeah, always willing to help and give my expertise to anyone who needs it. Yes, you are. That is actually something that is so amazing about you. Very giving, very open. And I still owe you a logo for the cup. I promise I'll do it this week. I promise. This has been a kind of a crazy week. Cool. And it has been for you too. I think you're a little, yeah, under the weather. So that's cool. We'll do it by next week. So yeah, so that is really important to have vision. And so I would love to know from you, if you want to tell me what you would like to accomplish within the next year. So I just told you I'd love to have about 1,000 people in my Smart Social Mastery membership in a year, and it feels like really big. And I'm like, oh, I'd be happy with a couple hundred. I'm already editing in my head, so I need to sit down and do this exercise too. So, how many people do you want to impact? What do you want to create? Is there something that you have been thinking about, like writing a book or, creating a new product or service that you keep putting off for some reason? I would love for you to admit it in the chat, so that we can support you in taking those steps. So yeah, that's really vision. You have to have a reason to get up every morning and do the thing that you do, because otherwise you just won't. You will get deflated during the journey. It just happens, like where you just like, I don't feel like doing this today. I'm taking the day off. Or you just, you'll get lost in some other project that's more like now and immediate. And it just is easy to put off those bigger visions and dreams and goals because we are so busy in the moment. And it just feels like it's so far away and like kind of hard, and you kind of worry about failing too. So, oh, thanks, mom. So there's my mom. I appreciate mom. So yeah, yeah, I have met so many amazing people along the way. So my mom's been along my journey. So she's seen me, seen me in all my iterations. So there you go, mom. Thanks for being here. Yeah, so I would love to know that, what your vision is. If you have one, think about it. And if you don't want to share it, that's fine. But I would love to see a few if you're willing. Okay, cool. So I'm going to move on to the third one while you're thinking about that. And that is your assets. And let me explain what that means. So all of us have done things in our lives and our careers that have created what I would like to call assets. Some of them are true assets, like maybe you've written a book, or maybe you've done some blog posts, or maybe you've done some interviews out there on podcasts, or have been a speaker somewhere, or maybe you have like a video, a weekly video live stream like I do, or a podcast yourself. These are assets that you shouldn't just use once and never use again. So one of the things that I like to think about is gathering my assets and repurposing them for other things, or rethinking them, reimagining them, rather than just trying to go out and make new things and make new things all the time. Because if you do that, you're going to wear yourself out, especially on social media. So the better that you can kind of like, narrow down what you're doing and have all these things you've already done and plug them into your strategy, the easier it's going to be for you. So for example, I'm doing this Smart Social Mastery, this whole video series that you're watching right now, the beginning of anyway, because I am going to basically, I told you I want to grow my mastery group, and that's definitely part of it. We have a really cool cohort right now that's in there. It's a membership, and they are amazing, all of them, and they are making huge results and kind of overcoming their obstacles, and it's really cool to see. It gives me a lot of energy, as you can hear. But I wanted more impact, right? So I wanted more impact. So I'm taking basically the pathway to mastery, which I showed you at the beginning, which you may not have been here for, but the pathway to mastery, which is like a 6-step process. And I'm going to lean into each piece of the process here in a public forum for the next couple of weeks, so that you guys can have a taste of what mastery is like. And also so that you can actually make so you can make some progress during this time, right? So that's really important to me too, is that people make progress. And so what I've done is I'm starting to, and I'm going to do it as we go, but I've bundled all of this up, and I'm putting a ticker on with the link, but I bundled all of this up into a video series. And oops, I don't know why I put Volley up there. Hi, Volley. And you see it along the bottom. It's like bit.ly It's a bit.ly link, Mastery Video Series. And what this Mastery Video Series is it basically a hub of videos. And so I'm using some cool tools that I have. Thank goodness I've got some fun things to work with, but I'll show you what it looks like here in a second. But it is like going to pop up. So it's like one of those video series where you have like this week's video will pop up in there and then next week's. And so if you sign up for that video series, you're going to be able to watch this entire video series as we go, or on your own time, or go back and look at it again as we go. So I've done some really kind of fun. I actually really enjoyed putting this one together. So yeah, so once you're inside of the video series, it looks like this, and it just says hey, and it's going to have your name right here. It says hi to you, which is really cool. I think it's very personalized, and then it's going to have each of the videos. So this is the video from last week, and you would just click on it and listen to it. And then this week, just like right today, after I'm done, I'm going to pop this video in here, and it's going to be right here. And you will be able to come back and listen to this again if you need to. And then, next week, we're going to do finding and connecting with your dream clients. And then the week after that, we're going to talk about choosing and building your social media platform. And it's really important that you kind of think about that. And then we're going to be talking about hacks to create content in record time. So these are my favorite hacks to create content. And then we're going to be talking about really a funnel. I know everybody talks about funnels, but we're going to talk about it more in the sense of how to serve your clients at each step of the funnel, rather than just like, a funnel to get you the most money possible. Although, hopefully it will get you some money. And then at the end, pivoting, which is the small tweaks that you can use to scale your business. And I'll share some of the ones that I've used and helped a lot of people use over the pandemic. And then, of course, there's a little celebration at the end that it's going to be right there for you. So yeah, it's going to be super fun. And I hope you join me along the way for this particular journey and sign up for the Mastery video series. But I'm excited about doing it. So hopefully this helps you. I am going to let it go there for this week. I'm trying to keep these short and sweet so that we can get through them. But in the end of the day, those are the things that you need to think about. I'll bring it back. Ooh, let me bring it back for you. The 3 things that you need to think about as you go about putting together your brand, I guess you could say, for social media and like who you are. And that's just really understanding these things, because you're going to be able to put them into all of your content. This is why it's so important. You want to have like really great content, but you want to have some spice in it. That's your personality spice, right? And that's going to be the critical part. And this is taking forever to load, but it's number 1 is your superpower. Number 2 is your vision. And number 3 is your assets. And that's what you need to think about. So make a list of those assets out there that you can reuse. Understand what your superpower is so you can really focus in on that as you're out there. So the tone of your social media, everything is going to come around that superpower. And then what is your vision? Like, why are you doing this? Because you're going to need some motivation in the end of the day to get all that done. So that is it for this week. And I hope you join me next week, 9:30 Central Time, here at the same station, same place. I know you guys are in different areas. I've got it streaming in 4 places. Let me know where you saw this from, and I will talk to you guys very soon. Okay, cool. I got a vision here before we go. I just want one vision. This is so good. Yes. Walter's vision is to grow his business into a multifaceted firm, offer a multitude of services to help your clients. Cool. I want to know what those services would be. All right. So just pushing you a little bit for specificity. So that's awesome. And thank you, Walter. Also awesome to have you guys here. I really appreciate everybody being here, and I will talk to you next week. Bye.